Morning. On this Palm Sunday, Jesus is demonstrating how God's kingdom is almost complete reversal of ours. We will be reading from Matthew 21, 1 through 11, and we will be sharing our scripture today in English, Korean, and Nepalese. When they had come near Jerusalem and had reached Bethphage at the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me."
जब उहाँहरू यरुशलेमको नजिक जैतुन डाँडाको बेतफागेमा आइपुग्नुभयो तब येशूले 2 जना चेलाहरूलाई यसो भनेर पठाउनुभयो, तिमीहरू सामान्यको गाउँमा जाऊ, त्यहाँ पुग्ने बित्तिकै तिमीहरूले एउटा गधा र त्यसको बछडो बाँधिएको भेटाउनेछौ, तिनलाई फुकाएर मका ल्याऊ।
If anyone says anything to you, just say this: "The Lord needs them, and He will send them immediately."
누가 무슨 말을 하거든 주가 쓰시겠다라 이런 즉시 누가 하시네.
कसैले तिमीहरूलाई के भन्यो भने प्रभुलाई यिनको जरुरत छ भन्नु र त्यसले तुरन्तै ती पठाइदिनेछ।
This took place to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet, saying, "Tell the daughter of Zion, look, your king is coming to you humble and mounted on a donkey and on a colt, and the foal of the donkey."
현지자로 하신 말씀을 노래하시기를 기도했을 때 시온 딸에게 이르기를 네 왕이 내게 임하노니 너는 김중하여 나그 곧 왕이 모은 짐승의 새끼 길을 돋아라 하였느니라.
अगमवक्ताद्वारा बोलिएको वचन पूरा होस् भनेर यो भएको हो। सियोनकी छोरीलाई भन, हेर तिम्रा राजा तिमी कहाँ आउँदैछन्, विनम्र भई गधामाथि सवार भएर गधाको बच्चा एउटा बछेडोमाथि।
The disciples went and did as Jesus had directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and put their cloaks on them, and he sat on them.
제자들이 가서 예수의 명하신 대로 하여 나귀와 나귀 새끼를 끌고 와서 자기들의 겉옷을 그 위에 얹음에 예수께서 그 위에 타시니.
तब चेलाहरू गएर येशूले तिनीहरूलाई अराएको मिचित गरे। तिनीहरूले गधा र त्यसको बच्चालाई र तिनीमाथि आफ्ना लुगाफाटा ओछ्याए र उहाँ त्यसमाथि बस्नुभयो।
A very large crowd spread their cloaks on the road, and others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road.
무리의 대부분은 그 겉옷을 길에 펴며 다른 이는 나뭇가지에 베어 길에 펴고.
भिडमा धेरैले आफ्नो वस्त्र बाटोमा ओछ्याए र अरूले रुखका हाँगा काटेर बाटोमा बिछ्याइदिए।
The crowds that went ahead of him and that followed were shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest heaven!"
앞에서 가고 뒤에서 따르는 무리가 소리질러 가로되 호산나 다윗의 자손이여 찬송하리로다. 주의 이름으로 오시는 이여 가장 높은 곳에서 호산나 하더라.
उहाँको अघि र पछि लागेका भिड यसो भन्दै कराए, दाउदका पुत्रलाई होशाना, धन्य उहाँ जो परमप्रभुको नाममा आउनुहुन्छ, परम धाममा होशाना।
When he entered Jerusalem, the whole city was in turmoil, asking, "Who is this?" The crowds were saying, "This is the prophet Jesus from Nazareth in Galilee."
예수께서 예루살렘에 들어가시니 온 성이 소동하여 가로되 이는 누구냐 하거늘 우리가 가로되 갈릴리 나사렛에서 온 선지자 예수라 하니라.
जब उहाँ यरुशलेममा प्रवेश गर्नुभयो सारा सहरमा हलचल मचियो मानिसहरूले सोध्न लागे यिनी को हुन्।
This is the word of God for the people of God.
Lent on kingdom reversals. We have a group, maybe 70 or more from Nepal. It hasn't been that many years ago that they were refugees within their own country. They didn't have running water. They didn't have plumbing. And some of them have lived like that for years. I can't even imagine what it must have been like. There are 30,000 Nepalese that live in the Columbus area right now. But just a few short visits, they could have never envisioned that moment. To go from not having food they can depend on and basic things of life to being involved in a church like ours. So praise God. So when they say, "All life is yours, Lord," all life is. When Jesus talks about kingdom reversals, he talks about seeing life in a different way, a totally different way, where if we look at eternity, where we spend our forever and ever, he says the last will be first. And the weak will be strong. And the meek, they'll inherit the world. And the greatest among you now are going to be your servants. Whenever we think about issues like that are going to play out in eternity, we say, they don't look like that now. They don't look like that here. But Jesus is trying to tell us that we can fashion this world to look a lot like the next world. And you just got a glimpse of how we can do a kingdom reversal. We sometimes have to stand on our head and look at things upside down. Now, nothing could be more in contrast than the way we look at leaders and kings in our world versus how it will play out in heaven. Our kings and our leaders deceive themselves because any of their reigns are going to be short-lived, at least in comparison to eternity. And you talk about contrast. Let's go back and imagine Palm Sunday now. And the processions that came into Jerusalem, because there were two processions of two different kinds of kings. You just heard about our King of Kings and Lord of Lords and how Jesus and his disciples entered Jerusalem from the east. They had come from Jericho, which was about 15 miles away. It was a ragamuffin band of poor folks, peasant folks. They paused at a village, Bethphage. It was like a suburb of Jerusalem. And there they picked up they sent the disciples to get a colt. And Jesus did the last leg up to the Mount of Olives with the colt that he was riding on the back of the colt. With such a crowd of common folk, waving their branches, their palm branches. They would actually take off their coats and lay them on the ground in front of them, and they would shout, "Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna to the highest heaven." Now, there was another king person, the governor of Judea, that was coming from the east. And his name, that many of you know, is Pontius Pilate. And he was coming down from his palace on the Mediterranean. They call it the Caesarea Maritima. Some of you have been there, about 75 miles away from Jerusalem. And he was coming just in time for the annual Passover celebration. And he was coming because of the Jews' hatred for Rome and the oppression of Rome and the dreams that they had of a Messiah. So Pilate was coming out of a fear of an uprising. And he knew the population in Jerusalem would swell from about 40,000 during Passover to at least 200,000. He came with an imperial army of soldiers in a lavish procession. It was designed to intimidate and to discourage potential uprisings. It was a royal cavalry of foot soldiers with leather armor and colorful uniforms and helmets and weapons and banners. They came with golden eagles mounted on poles, horns announcing his coming, and the sun glinting on metal and gold. Those were two very different processions headed to Jerusalem and on a collision course that would cost Jesus his life and would change the course of history forever. Our Lord's triumphal entry into Jerusalem may have begun with the crowd shouting, "Hosanna!" But just a few short days later, on Good Friday, those shouts were cried, "Crucify him!" Jesus came humbly on a donkey, Pilate came pompously on a stallion. We look at the way God wants us to look at power and authority. There's what a display of kingdom reversals took place on that Palm Sunday. It was an upside-down world order. Jesus would say during Holy Week, the days that followed, 2 chapters later in Matthew, "For whoever exalts themselves, whoever lifts themselves up, will be humbled, will be brought down. And whoever humbles himself will be exalted." Jesus says the same thing in Luke 14:11. It's just not a lesson for kings and leaders. It's a lesson for you and for me. The author of the book of James puts it like this in the 4th chapter and the 10th verse. He writes, "Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up." 1 Peter 5, verse 6 says the exact same thing. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up in due time, at the right time, at the proper time. And that's what was happening in Palm Sunday and what we had. Humility. Humility is a hard word to understand. In this one, we look at our leaders and those who govern us, and we don't see much in the way of humility, do we? But that's what characterized Jesus and everything that he proclaimed and everything he tried to do. Try showing too much of humility, and you're not going to be doing it. Right? Tell people it's your best quality, you're not being humble. Abraham Lincoln once said, "What kills a skunk is the publicity it gives itself." And yet, it's a word most of us often use to describe our Lord. And don't we want to be more and more like him? So let's take a moment to define it. Because we all know it when we see it, and we admire it in the people that we see. Let me give you an example. I'm going to have Caleb Spurgeon come up here with me, or Caleb Parker. And Caleb, where are you at? Because this is going to be all too familiar to some of you football fans. And Caleb, I'm going to see if you can kind of let this assume that you're a wide receiver and show us how you're going to catch that touchdown pass in the end zone. Now, let's see that football. If you've seen other people try to take a more humble stance, so catch from the end zone and take a different posture. You've seen people do that, haven't you? But sometimes, as hard as it is, people will say, that draws too much attention to yourself. So let's assume that I'm the official. Catch your pass now, what might you do? With the whole stadium probably just going wild if you just caught a pass. And all you do is you toss it to the official and you walk. That's more of what we would think humility is about, right? C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less." Or as one person told me this week, not being overly impressed with yourself. I asked a group of fifth graders at Champion Elementary School, part of our Columbus City school system, what they thought about the word and how they understood the word humility. Now, humility is the word, is our theme in our orange curriculum among our children this month. They started looking at it last Sunday, they're doing it today, and they're going to be talking about it throughout the month of April. Now, last week, our children, when we said, what do you think humility is? And some of them said, well, it's about being humiliated. They thought that was the root word for being humiliated. That's what makes our English language so hard to understand at times, doesn't it? But listen to what some of these fifth graders at Champion School, as they understood humility. They said it's being responsible, being good, being nice to others, being respectful. They said it means someone can count on you. It means believing in yourself, being honest. They use words like kind and gentle and caring and bold. I like the one where someone, a kid said, humility means being confident in yourself. You got to remember, that's pretty good coming from those kids. Because many of these kids have been lied to over their entire life. Many of them have been manipulated, have been abused, have been disappointed to the point that it has wounded deep in their soul and their spirit. They can smell a phony a mile away because they've been schooled in hurt. But they also cling to anything they feel is genuine, that they can count on. So they understand humility. They long for the person with a humble heart, the way Jesus practiced and loved. Some of you may know remember the name Gordon B. Hinckley. He was a religious leader in the 20th century, a Mormon. I love his definition. He says that being humble means recognizing we are not on this earth to see how important we can become, but to see how much difference we can make in the lives of others. I think that probably comes as close to any in describing what Jesus was trying to tell us and show us. And the last demonstration during Holy Week was when he got down on his knees on Thursday at the Last Supper. And after the disciples had come in, he washed their dirty, smelly feet. Humility is about putting others before yourself. Remember, the last will become the first in the kingdom of heaven. Humility is about listening and opening up yourselves to others. Dwight L. Moody, a great American evangelist of the 19th century, he has a Bible Institute, the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, named after him, and he preached during the Civil War, and he said this very, very simply: be humble, or you'll stumble. Humility is about being able to apologize, even if you are just slightly in the wrong. Another group of elementary kids said humility is about being courteous and saying please and thank you all the time. They also said the